Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how I go about cleaning my bike after you've been out for a ride and it's got a little bit dirty and you want to give it a freshen up, make it look mint again. So let's go ahead, let's take a look. So as you see, got the dirt like that. So if you've been out on damp roads, it's unavoidable to get all the spray that's coming up off the roads. It gets all over your, you know, the usual head tube, brakes, forks, etc., and the dam tube, all on the bottom of the dam tube and everything, just road spray like that. So I'll just show you what I do just to clean that off and get the bike looking mint again. So the first thing I'll do is just remove the chain from the bike, because that's the best way to clean it. Obviously you don't need to do this every time, it depends what you've got. You might have a wax chain or whatever, you don't need to do it like this, but obviously this is black like that, just with normal chain lube on there. So I say you might not need to remove it every time, depends how far you've been to how dirty it might be and how dirty, say, the roads were at the time. What I'll do is I'll remove that off of the bike to clean it properly, and what you'll find is you can have two chains. So if you want to clean that one properly, you can have another one that's already cleaned and dried, say ready to put back on, and then you can thoroughly clean this one and then hang it up and leave it to dry like that, so they're on rotation. Is always a good idea. So what I'll do is I'll just get this off and then we'll carry on from there. So to clean the old oil off of like your cassette and your jockey wheels, that sort of thing, your front chain rings, what I do is you just get a clear plastic tub like that, and then if you put some degreaser, whatever you're using, into the tub like that in the bottom, and then just with an old microfiber cloth, you can just cut these in half, so you're not using the whole one. Just cut it in half with a pair of scissors, and just dunk that in there and just wring it out a little bit so it's damp. And you just go around with your cloth like that, just clean off the jockey wheels, top and bottom, just wipe them off. Obviously this is if they're not too bad in the first place. If they're really bad, then you might need to use a little brush on them to clean them off, but just go around there like that. While you're on it, you just check them as well, make sure they're okay while you're doing that. So just wipe over that like that, and then for the cassette, what I'll do is with an old paintbrush, I'll just snip the brush down so it's a bit shorter, so it's not so long. So just cut the bristles down a bit, and then all I'll do is just with your brush, I'll just dampen the brush a little bit just so it's damp like that, so just get rid of any excess in it. And then what you can do then is just go round. If you get your cloth like that, just hold it underneath the cassette, just go round with it damp and just brush it on like that, and then dampen your brush again, just move the cassette round a little bit, and just do it again, and just move it round, and again dampen your brush down, and just keep doing that. Now I will remove the wheel from the bike, so you can do it off of the bike as well, but you can also just do it like this as well. I'll just show you like this because while it's on the bike, but you can, if you want to, I'll be removing the wheel anyway, so you can go around afterwards and do it. Like I said, when it's not even on the bike, you just do this off the bike if you want. Just hold the cloth under the cassette, same thing like I'm doing now. Just go around and gently just dampen it and do that, and that'll clean it up. And we'll do it. We'll have another go at it when it's not on the bike. So you can just dry off like that. So that's got rid of that, any old chain lube on it. The thing with doing that is, and the reason I'm doing it like that, is you're not flooding anything with any degreaser or anything like that. If you're spraying it all over it and flooding it, what happens is that degreaser just works its way down inside the free hub, and again it'll get into the bearings. So it's literally degreasing the bearings as well over time if you do it often enough, and you know, without checking. Same with washing it with a hose pipe does. You'll just spray loads of water inside of everything, that all the bearings have got water in them. If you take them apart after you sprayed it with the hose pipe, you'll see they've got water in the bearings. The seals on the bearings aren't to stop water, they're just to stop dust. They're just dust seals. They're not waterproof seals on bearings. So that's one thing. Why just wipe it down like that with minimal degreaser on it, so it doesn't, like I said, wash anything out. Same like the jockey wheels, the same. And then all you do with your front chain rings again is just get some bit of clean degreaser in your tub, and then dampen your cloth down with it. And then all you got to do is hold the cloth like that, then turn the chain ring, and you can just wipe off like that. Just wipe it round, so it gets rid of any old dirt on it, like that. So just dampen your cloth down, hold on to it wherever you want at the front like that, and just turn it round. And same for the inner chain ring, just wipe it round like that. And that way it gets rid of all the old grease on it, like that. Same for the inner chain ring, wipe it round as well, that'll get rid of that. So what I'll do now is just so you drop your wheels out, depends what you got, so your rim brake, disc brake, whatever. I'll drop those out so you can get in and just wipe down inside the by the bottom bracket there and everything. And same with the fork area, you can wipe round inside that. So you don't have to drop the wheels out. If you don't want to, you can do it on there, but if you want to do a bit more of a thorough job, then you can just drop the wheels out. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Just wipe round it as it is, you know, what you can get to. So with the chain, I've got it in a tub, a separate tub, like that. I'll just pour in some degreaser like that, and then just leave that soaking in there for a bit, just to loosen off the worst of it. Just leave that for a while we're doing the rest of it. Just leave that soak in for a bit, and then we'll do it again, obviously, to get it properly cleaned up. So what I do for cleaning the rest of the bike off is, I get a microfiber cloth, So I've got a couple of these, or 3 or 4, just on like rotation, if you see what I mean. Then you just get that, and then what I do is, with a spray bottle like that, so what I'll do is I don't use any bike related cleaning products whatsoever. All I'll do is buy a large, like a 5 litre, couple of 5 litres of waterless wash, what they use for cars. So waterless wash, what you see them use on supercars or whatever. So if it's good enough for a supercar that costs about 200 grand, then it'll be good enough for a bike. So get some waterless wash, and all I do is, like I said, buy it in bigger containers and then just dispense it into a smaller one like that in a spray bottle. So if you buy in bulk, it's always cheaper to buy it like that. And then all I do is, you can just get this and just spray it directly onto the bike and then wipe it down with the cloth, depending on how bad it is, if you see what I mean. You could just get it and just spray it like that. Just put a coating over it like that, leave it soak. So if there's a particularly bad area, you could just say down on your down tube, for instance, or something, or round the back. In here, you could just, down the back of your seat tube and that, you could just give it a bit of a spray just to soak it a little bit, just help it absorb, you know, soak into the dirt. But then all I do is, you could do it like that, but what I tend to do is just spray a bit onto a cloth, dampen the cloth with it, and then I use one cloth to wipe it over to get the worst off first. So start with the bits that are not so dirty, like say your top tube maybe might not be as dirty as the rest of it, or your handlebars and your stem, just give them a wipe over. So the areas that aren't so dirty, start with them. Obviously I've already done the seat tube, wipe that off so I can clamp it in the clamp. I say you don't have to do this in a stand, I'm just showing you like this so you can see what I'm doing. So you got one cloth to wipe it off with, so you wipe all the worst off first, and then I'll just go back over it with another cloth to just go over it again. And then what I do then is, after I've been over it just a couple of times, then when it's dry, so to speak, I'll just wipe over it with a dry cloth, because this leaves a bit of a film on it that's almost like a polish. So you just go back over it again and polish it up, so it's effectively like a polish as well, if you see what I mean, as well as a waterless wash. It sort of does both things really. So that's all I do to clean it all up. So you just go over it like that, and that way you're not spraying any water over everything, all over your handlebars, things like that. You're not soaking them with water. If your handlebars or your hoods and that are dirty, just get some warm soapy water and dunk a microfiber cloth in the water, and then just wipe it over your hoods and your bar tape and everything. Just do it like that instead of soaking everything with a hose pipe, because like I said, all you're doing is washing the grease out and you're filling everything with water, and including the frame. So I'll just go all over it and show you then. Right, so that's gone round and got all the heavier contaminants off of it. What you can do with your cloth is just have a bucket of water, or half a bucket of water next to you, and just from time to time you can just dunk the cloth in some water and just give it a bit of a rinse out, squeeze it out, just to clean the cloth up a bit while you're doing it. Just stop the cloth. Obviously if you've got loads of dirt on your down tube and you wipe it like that, you'll have loads of dirt on here, so you can just dunk it in a bucket and just get that off and give it a wring out, and then just carry on wiping it around. So that's got rid of like the heavy stuff on it. And then once you've done that, you can just go round it, the frame again, just give everything a secondary wipe down, Obviously a lot quicker than the first one. Just give it spray on the cloth and wipe it over. So that's wiped it over for a second time, just in case you missed any bits on it. And obviously while you're doing it, you can inspect any bits of your bike as well while you're having a look round. Make sure everything's as it should be for like your next ride. Check your, have a look at your brakes and things while you're doing it, and check for any play and anything, etc. And then, so I'll wipe that over again. Now this particular product I'm using, all I do is go over it with a dry cloth again. Now I've wiped it over. So I'll just get a dry cloth like that and then just give it a wipe over. And then that effectively, it acts a bit like a polish. It'll dry with a slight film on it. Then if you just go over and buff it up, it'll get rid of that. And then that'll be the frame cleaned up. And then we can obviously just do the wheels then. So I'll just demonstrate this on the rear wheel. Same applies to the front basically, just without the cassette and everything on it. So like I showed earlier, I did the cassette on the bike. Now you don't have to, you can just do it here like this. You just hold a cloth underneath it like that and just go around with that damp brush and just give that a clean off, and then just wipe it over with your cloth afterwards just to clean it up, so as it's clean for the next time you want to use it. So obviously the same principle applies. Just start with a cloth, just give it a spray. Obviously if your wheel's particularly bad, you can just spray it over it like that, or just send a spray on the cloth if it's not too bad, and then just wipe it over like that. Doesn't matter if you get it on the tyre. Just go around the rim like that. Like I said, you can rinse the cloth out in a bucket if you want to, if it's bad, if it's dirty. You just go around the spokes like that. Just give them a wipe off like that, and just go in between the spokes. All the way around like that, and then just turn it round like that, and then do the same thing. You don't need a massive amount of product on there. Once the cloth's damp, you can just keep turning your cloth and then rinse it out and reapply some more on it. But once it's damp, you don't need a lot on there. So just go around and do that. So you can do your hub and everything as well in there. Just take your time, just go around it, just give it a wipe round. So if the cloth's damp, it'll clean it up. No problem at all. So once you've done it like that, then all you do is, like I showed earlier, just get your dry cloth. Then all I do is wipe it round with this dry cloth. To dry any residue off. Of course, while you're doing this, you can just inspect your wheel, make sure spokes are all good, things like that. You haven't got any loose ones, anything like that. Also, just have a look at your tyre while you got it out of the bike. Just spin your wheel around while you got it there. Make sure you haven't got any little flints or any bits of debris stuck in your tyre that'll catch you out next time you go out. Just wipe that over. Do the other side, and then obviously what you want to do is just inspect your free hub there. Make sure you haven't got any play in your cassette from moving it in and out like that. Make sure that's all good. Just have a look at your cassette, make sure it doesn't need replacing or anything, make sure it's all good. So that's the wheel cleaned up there like that. The same be for the front one. Do the same thing on that. Just inspect it while you're doing it. Get that one cleaned up, and that's both the wheels cleaned. So what I've done with the chain is, while I've been doing that, I've had it soak in. So all I've done is I've got another one of these containers, and I've tipped out the dirty fluid into another container. It depends on what you're using. See if it's water based or whatever degreaser you're using, or if it's solvent or whatever it is, then you could just leave that tub outside and it will just evaporate out of it. Then you just wipe the tub out with a cloth or some paper, tissue, whatever, just to clean it up the inside after it's evaporated. But so I've done that chain. That's just had one soak in that, just to get the worst out. And then all I'll do is put some in there again, so it just covers the chain, and then we'll leave it soaking again. You can put the lid on and soak it as well. Just put a lid back on it, give that soak in there like that. But like I said, what you got is to cover the chains, so you can see the dirt in that again. So you could tip that straight out and just re-soak it again, just to get rid of all that. But like I said, you've got another chain ready to go on the bike that you cleaned before and already had hung up, ready to go back on and use whatever lube you're going to do with it, you know. So, and this one will just be cleaned out and then hung up, and then you just swap them around. So there we have the wheels fitted back in. All we got to do is obviously put your chain back on. But so it's easy to do, cleans it up nicely as well, without using any hose pipe on it at all. So it's handy, like I say, if you live in a flat or something, you haven't got a hose pipe and you want to wipe it over, then it's handy for that really. So you can, if you've got a hose pipe, then if it's really bad, if it's winter, then obviously you can wash it with a hose pipe and a sponge and everything. But if it's summertime and the roads are relatively dry, or you just get caught out in a shower and things like that, and you just want to wipe it back up, clean it up and everything without using water on it, because obviously, like I said before, water is what destroys everything. Your bearings, everything gets destroyed by that. So your bearings, everything lasts a lot longer if you don't use any water on your bike. You find they last absolutely ages. Well guys, so I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. And also, go down the description below. If you're on Strava, we started a Strava Club. So if you want to join up to that, obviously it's totally free. So feel free to click that link and join up. So until the next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.